Before we get into your specific chakra reading, I want to just talk about how these readings work a little bit. So what I do is I have a chakra energy set, and then I have my tarot cards. So I pull the chakra cards first, and that lets me know what's in balance, what's overactive, what's, functioning properly. And then I pull tarot cards. So I pull 2 cards to let us know what kind of happened to cause this imbalance or overbalance. And that way we know how to heal it. I'm not really trying to get caught up in the past. It's more just, I think, how do we know what to fix if we don't know what happened? So we look at that, and then I pull 2 more cards that let us know what to do going forward, and this is how we can heal this. So a lot of this is going to be, we're looking at what happened, and we do a lot of inner work. A lot of my craft focuses on inner work. I fully believe that we can heal a lot of what's going on inside. Now, I understand that we can't always do that, and that is when we would do spell work, or that's where we turn to modern science and try to do things outside of us. All that, I feel like I'm getting on a different tangent. All that being said, I look at how our energy centers talk to one another. They are kind of like, they're like roadways. You can consider it like our throat chakra and our heart chakra. They have 10,000 different ways to talk to one another. So these ways can get clogged. And that's what I look at on these readings. And so in doing yours, I was able to gather a lot of your energy is built up in between your throat chakra and your yin chakra. So that's going to be all in your torso area. So outside of the healing work that you do on your own, one thing that could give you a lot of relief if you're feeling a lot of tension or buildup, like in this section of your body, is to get a selenite wand. And they're really easy to come by. They're cheap. You just grab it, and what you do is an energy sweep. And so we want to make sure, like with a broom, that we're sweeping it away from us. We're not trying to pull it in. But selenite can just cut through energy. So this could come through and just kind of, and just really give you a big release of all of that tension. All right, typically on these readings, we will go from root to crown, and on your root chakra, it was balanced. So I'm not going to stay on that topic for too awful long because there's not any work that I'm seeing that needs to be done here. The only message that I seen from your root was that you have a tendency to kind of live in your head in a daydream, and it appears the reason for that was growing up. It just kind of seems like maybe you weren't very emotionally fulfilled, or maybe your parents weren't emotionally available. Whenever that happens as children, oftentimes we will resort to kind of living in our heads and building up this fantasy world inside that we're going to escape to one day. The tarot likes that you do that. It encourages that you continue to do that, just that you pour it into writing. Both of these cards on the Knight of Swords and the Two of Pentacles, both of those are about writing. So just continue to do that. Make sure that you're pouring it into a healthy outlet, and not just, I guess your root chakra doesn't want to be sitting there in a daydream thinking that that's really what's going on. There's just a need for to differentiate between reality and fantasy. All right, now we are going to talk about your sacral chakra, which did appear to be underactive. Now, I like to preface the sacral chakra with, I think a lot of the public thinks that this is solely a sexual chakra, and that's not the case. This chakra does have your reproductive organs in it, but it's not the only chakra that has to deal with that. And in addition, more than it is about sexual intercourse or anything like that, it's actually about chasing pleasure, and pleasure comes from more than just that. We find pleasure in a milkshake. We can find pleasure in looking at a painting. It's about creating and about allowing yourself to find enjoyment. So the card that came out for your sacral was a throat chakra card. So there's some kind of a miscommunication going on between your throat chakra and your sacral. And what I've gathered is that essentially something that you were doing that brought you pleasure and brought you joy, like maybe you were vocalizing about it and you were shamed. Someone, didn't think it was cool. They said something, and it kind of made you turn to unhealthy coping skills. The affirmation is, everything that I do promotes my self-confidence. And what the cards around it were telling me is that essentially something like maybe you didn't have the funds to support what you were wanting to do. Like just an off the wall example, let's say you wanted to join the basketball team and you went to your mother about it, and rather than your mom being like, hey honey, we can't afford to do this, she instead shamed you for wanting to do it because girls don't play basketball, girls so you know what I mean, like in your subconscious you kind of filed that away as something that you're not supposed to do. So whenever you're desiring to play basketball, rather than giving into that, you turn to some unhealthy coping skill, and that is what has happened with this chakra. chakra. So what they recommend doing going forward is to kind of analyze what no longer serves you, the coping skills that we've picked up along the way, recognize like, hey, this doesn't really help me anymore, set those aside and go on ahead and go about your business. Another big message from here was things are never perfect. Nothing is ever complete. We are all a work in progress. It is okay to not be perfect. It's okay to not be completely healed. It is okay to not fully master a craft. We are never finished. We are always growing. We're always learning and evolving. And just because you're not perfect doesn't mean that you are not perfect. All right, so your solar plexus had an imbalance between your solar and your yin chakra. So your yin chakra is going to be right here. If you're looking at the person, it'll be on the right side, but it's on your left side of your body, right up near your shoulder blade. And the yin chakra holds our feminine energy. Everyone has feminine and masculine energy within them. And the big imbalance here is essentially because feminine energy has a lot of healing energy, and you are a healer, and somewhere along the line that has been like muddled up that you're not able to heal because of your condition. The big takeaway here was that the exact things that make you think you can't be a healer is why you should be a healer. The things that I guess that people tell you that make you unable, or just that make yourself feel unable, really are exactly what people need help with, and you know how to navigate those waters. All right, so our heart chakra is having a little bit of an imbalance because of a connection to our auric field. So our aura and our heart and all of our chakras are very much connected. And your heart actually is what puts your aura out, just so you know. So the miscommunication is going on between the third level of, or the third layer of your aura, and that is the mental body. It's about 8 inches away from your skin. And this is where the subconscious and conscious kind of interact. And this is where your thoughts kind of hang out until they are stored in your subconscious. So this is where specifically your ethics, morals, and value is placed. And coincidentally, the reason that your heart chakra is having issues is because of the value that you've placed on yourself. So as what it looks like happened is in the past, you essentially just weren't really enjoying the fruits of your labor. You weren't allowing yourself to rest. You weren't allowing yourself to, it's almost like those people that get their savings all up together and they never allow themselves to go have fun. It's like you were working really hard towards something, but you weren't allowing yourself to enjoy it. So what the tarot recommends doing going forward is prioritizing your wants. Recognize that denying yourself what you want, it's not, for one, you're telling yourself that you don't have very much value. For two, you're telling yourself that you don't enjoy to rest and to enjoy the things that you've made. There's almost an essence of if you have time to lean, you have time to clean, like you feel like your value is directly correlated to how productive you are, and that's not the case. So if you want to heal your heart chakra up a little bit, just know that you are allowed to give yourself what you want. It doesn't have to just be what you need. All right, so now we are going to move on to your throat chakra, and on the throat chakra, I'm a little bit confused because it came out as balance, but it's having imbalanced qualities. So this is what I'm seeing in the cards. It appears that you learned that maybe you were not able to have children, or made the decision to not have children. And I believe that you thought the narrative you told yourself was true, but I think that you were just making that fit. Because what this chakra is showing the imbalance on is with the yin chakra once again. So it's that feminine energy. And what it says is, I lovingly accept my femininity. I don't think I can say that word. And what the cards around it are telling me is kind of like maybe you learned you weren't able to have children. And a lot of this stuff is once again pointing to just a desire to heal and nurture. And what the cards recommend doing is going forward, just kind of, being honest with yourself that, hey, that wasn't the path that we walked down, but that doesn't mean that we're not able to pour into others. That doesn't mean that we're not able to nurture others. And it certainly doesn't mean that you were not feminine. Your third eye and your crown were both open, and the only messages from your third eye was that it wants to make sure that you continue to keep your energy separate from other people's energies. Maybe in the past you were kind of entertaining that, but you're not anymore, so I'm not going to harp on it. Another message from both of those chakras was part of the reason why your crown specifically is going to always be open is because of how many brushes you've had with death. You have essentially gone through death and the moon over and over in this life, and once we've done that so many times, our crown chakra will stay open. So now that we've looked into a bit of these imbalances and what caused them and like what, mentally we can do going forward, some of the physical things that you can do going forward are working with certain crystals and certain fragrances. So your root chakra and your sacral chakra are going to be the main focuses for what I believe you should do going forward. If we're wondering about kidneys and different organs like that, your root and your sacral, they govern your bones, your blood system, your adrenal glands, your lymphatic nodes. They also govern your kidneys, your bladder. A lot of those organs are in those two chakras. So I would start working with the color orange and the color red going forward. A lot of your chakras want to work with the fragrance of pine. They're recommending that you work with aventurine and labradorite, as well as orange calcite and rose quartz. Some of the other fragrances that were brought up was juniper and cardamom. And outside of pine, they are recommending that you work with the fragrance of oak. And that's the oak fragrance specifically is going to target all of those feminine issues that seem to be kind of popping up throughout the reading. So in addition to those crystals and those fragrances, we can also work with our diet. So your root chakra and your sacral chakra are going to be wanting red and orange foods as well as root vegetables. So you could work with like a lot of berries right now, carrots, melons. Red meat is also, if you're not vegetarian, red meat is advised. Lentils work great with your root chakra and beans. So you can incorporate some of those things into your diet. Another big thing to think about right now is some of the affirmations that go along with those chakras. For the sacral, it's I feel. I really want you to start honoring your emotions and how you feel about things. Analyze why you feel that way about things. Sometimes we can change our feelings if we pinpoint like why they're there, and sometimes it's not even our feelings. That might be why your third eye was mentioning to make sure that your energy is yours and not other people. It could be that someone else told you how they felt about something and you took that on as your own. So just really start going through why you feel the way you do about things. Start honoring your wants. In addition, the root chakra, I would like you to start focusing on the phrase I am. And I know that we use that affirmation a lot to manifest things in. I don't want you to start trying to manifest things in. I want you to focus on the reality of who you are and how that is enough.